So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Elmwood School for the 2021 school year. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Today is about welcoming you and answering some of your questions. So to that point, just before I start, I'm just going to do a very, very brief bit of housekeeping. The first thing is you will see a Q&A button. So if you have any questions that you would like us to answer, we're going to do that at the end of the presentation. If you could put your questions into that. If for some reason that isn't working, please use the chat feature. Sometimes it hasn't been working. So welcome. The picture you see in front of you is obviously from last year. And last year, as we went into the March break, we were all looking forward to our vacations. And then halfway through, everything shut down. And we went online immediately. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that just because of the pride I felt for the school. We immediately went online. The girls didn't miss any hours of instruction. But the thing I was most proud of was our community and the way the community responded. The girls in particular just stepped right in. Our girls are inquisitive, they're resilient, and they're fantastic learners. And whilst other students from around the globe and around Canada may have stepped off and maybe weren't as engaged, our girls stepped in and they were working right up until the very end of our at-home learning, right up into the summer. And what that meant was that they didn't miss any learning. So they're coming back, starting without any gaps in their knowledge. So we were incredibly proud of that, incredibly proud of the community and the support we received and for the teachers. Now going into this year, as soon as the school year finished, we started planning for what would be our reopening. And I was absolutely thrilled when I heard that the schools were going to be able to be open. And as soon as we started getting requirements, we were busy planning for how we could do this safely and how we can make sure Elmwood would be opening as normal when we came back. I say as normal, but obviously we have some restrictions and they're important for the safety of the students. But there's a couple of things that were very important to us as the leadership of the school and as teachers in the school, is that we don't lose that sense of community. We don't lose the sense of fun the girls have with learning. And we don't lose the sense of the girls coming to a place which they love, they feel safe in. And most importantly, the girls need to be back together. As parents, we know my daughter's in my house right now. She's at Elmwood and she's desperate to get back with her friends. She's desperate to have those social connections, to be able to have conversations, to be able to have what is normal. And being at school, being in that social environment with all the restrictions we have, is going to give the girls such a sense of normality and structure and routine that we are thrilled and excited that we can do that. For those people that are joining us today, this is new to you. Normally, we would have you in the school, you'd have walked into our campus, you'd have seen parts of it. Unfortunately, we can't do that, but there will be opportunities for you to see us and be able to meet in person. This is our first conversation with you, but there will be many others. Elmwood is such a family, and I welcome you to that family. We really do put value in that. Every teacher, every student, it's like they're coming home when they come into school. And that's so important to us. As we move through this presentation, you're going to meet some very, very important people for yourself, but also for your daughters. And I'll introduce them as we get to them. A little bit about me. Obviously, my name's James Whitehouse. I'm head of school. I've been head of school now. This is my second year at Elmwood as head of school. Previous to that, I was a deputy head of school at Elmwood. So I've been here now. I think I'm moving into my 10th year. I have two children, a boy and a girl. Obviously, Isla, who is going to grade 2, comes to Elmwood. And my son, Oliver, is going to grade 4 in the Catholic system. So my wife's a principal in the public system, so I'm getting to see firsthand the differences. And I just know how lucky we are as a small all-girls school. I say all girls because teaching all girls is such a pleasure, particularly in environments like this, and the support they can offer and the ideas that they can give. So I'm now going to move on to our school values. As we move into this year, lots of things will be different. The Elmwood experience will be different in terms of what it was last year in person, but there are some things that will never change for us, and it's our values. And you can see them in front of you. I'll just walk them through for you very quickly. The first one is respect. Everybody in our community respects each other. Teachers respect students, respect parents, and students respect the teachers and the adults in the building too. This is key to us. We don't adhere to those old school Victorian values that everyone deserves respect immediately. Our community earns the respect. We work together to make sure that we are a family and we live by those values. Innovation is going to be more important than ever before this year. Our teachers are desperate to try new things, new pedagogy, new ways of learning, new ways of thinking. And that's going to take an innovative mindset. And so being part of our Elmwood values and as part of our strategic future, that's very important. Collaboration is going to look different. We can't lie about that, nor should we. Obviously, safety comes first, but we have the tools and the ability through technology and through different perspex, plexiglass shields, that we are still going to be able to collaborate as learners and as adults in the building too. I'm going to go to integrity next. Our school is founded on the principles of integrity. Everything we do is about that. We don't try and say things that we're not. We believe in our curriculum, we believe in our values, and we believe in our mission and our vision. So we hold integrity at the core of everything we do. We like to have conversations, we like to be challenged because we believe in this so fundamentally. And lastly, responsibility. I spoke to the faculty and staff on Monday about this. This year more than ever, we have responsibility to make sure that we're safe, that making sure that as teachers and as adults, that we don't come in if we're sick, that we don't put anyone at risk, that we have a responsibility to make sure the girls are learning, to make sure that their learning isn't interrupted. We have a responsibility to make sure our school feels like it did before. We have a responsibility to make sure education keeps going. Now that also applies to everybody in the school. So as a community, you have a responsibility as parents to make sure that the girls don't come in sick, that you don't send students in when they may not be feeling well. And we're going to talk more about that. But most of all, we are a family. And so we live like a family and we act like a family. With that, no, I'm going to stop talking now because the family values are what mean the very most to me. And I'm going to introduce someone who has been part of this family for 23 years. Francie Marchand, she's looking at me funny now. Francie Marchand, who is our Director of Health, Safety and Wellness, has been working since the summer started and before on developing a plan to make sure our community is safe. She has been a core of Elmwood School for 23 years and knows the community better than anyone. And Francie's going to lead us through some of those safety measures now. I'm going to talk to you again later, but again, welcome to our community and welcome to our family, and have a great morning. Thank you.
Great, thank you, James. I love the keep calm and stay healthy. I'm not sure if I was keeping calm all summer, but definitely staying healthy. I would love to say that as our educational system at Elmwood School takes a leading edge, I really do believe that our health plan and our safety plan is definitely taking a leading edge. We definitely were not sitting back all summer waiting for the ministry and OPH and the World Health Organization to dictate to us what we were doing, but we were definitely taking a lead and instrumentally putting in the safety measures in place for a safe campus reopening. And I'm looking forward to this happening next week. And I can definitely reassure every single one of you as parents, for our students and for our staff, that our campus reopening is the safest it could possibly be. I know we've spent the summer as a team, leadership team and myself, walking every single inch of the junior and the senior middle school to ensure, viewing it from the ground level, that it is safe and ready for fun learning, that the girls will come back and actually not even realize the things that have been put into place to make their everyday school a safe learning environment for them. The biggest thing that we are engaging you in help in this, keeping it safe, is the daily assessment. And I know we've heard this time and time again in the community, is the daily self-assessment for COVID screening to ensure that everyone is safe prior to coming into the school in the building. And obviously elimination of any infection in any process is the most important to eliminate before coming into the building. So if you need help or assistance in doing that, or you're not sure, please, this is what I'm here for. As James said, he knew the math today. In our junior school presentation yesterday, he wasn't sure it was 23 years or not. I've been in the school for a long time, and I am a public health nurse as well, and I am here to assist with that on a daily basis. So the self-assessment, you're going to be given some tools and some strategies to help facilitate that and to empower our girls to do that themselves as well. So the girls are safe coming to school. Our staff is also safe and healthy before they come into the school environment. Our daily routine, our classes are small, but we haven't stopped at just having small class sizes and putting them into our rooms. Our rooms are well spaced out. They're well ventilated. I know more about water flushing systems and HVAC units and ventilation and fresh air circulation than I ever needed to know about. But more than that, I think you've learned about in one of James's communication, is that each classroom is now equipped with these wonderful air purifier systems. The filter systems filter out viruses. Of course, the COVID-19 virus filtering system is new to the units, but just the fresh air filtering carbon system, the benefit to learning, the benefit to the 15-minute fresh circulation in every classroom is fantastic. And each one of our girls are going to be in an environment, in a classroom situation, that these filtering fresh air systems are going to be placed. So that is amazing. And we'd like to thank one of our parents as well for helping make that instrumental to our school. Our outdoor learning, we have amazing outdoor learning opportunities. We have facilitated that in our outdoor fields, in placing tents coverage. We have encouraged our teachers to pre-program and pre-book outdoor learning academic spaces, again, in a safe cohorting way so that our girls can be outside. Fresh air, we know, is instrumental to reducing the risk of spread and contact, which our teachers will be encouraged to do, and you will have an opportunity to see and experience what that outdoor learning will look like for your daughter. And I think that'll be a really fun element of her daily routine, which she probably hasn't experienced before at her other learning environments. Our PPE, so the wearing of a mask, our rooms are distanced and the girls will be cohorted. She will be encouraged and will have to wear a mask, but there are opportunities and safe spaces and areas in the building, and she can always consult myself if she is feeling she needs a break, the mask is bothering her, she needs to discuss it with me. We need to offer her an opportunity to have a safe area where she just needs to kind of deal with the fact that it's too much for her at any given time. That is all available for her to have that opportunity to have a break. Outside time, she can remove that break. Lunchtime, she can remove that break. And I'm going to be doing some health teaching and learning with the students as well. You might notice that on the Schoology page, if you're familiar or not familiar with that yet, I have a video up there for your learning, the students' learning, but I also will be reinforcing all that learning with the students as well in a fun but educational way with them. Our physical distancing, we have beautiful arrows, fun arrows, distancing, so that the girls will know up which way to go, which way to walk, just reassuring, but not in a way where they feel like, wow, I can't go this way, I can't go that way, everything is super controlled. They're Elmwood branded. I went around earlier this week putting them down. I think also we always engage the girls in what they think works best for them. This is part of what we do in Elmwood and everything we do. It's like we are evolving, we reflect, we reevaluate, and we also want to engage with them. What needs to be changed? What's working? If we've decided to use the staircase in a certain way and they're saying, Miss Marchand, that's not working well, we'll reassess and we'll have them as part of the solutions. And I think in that way, this whole process is going to be fun. And I know sometimes parents and the teachers are saying, Francie, is any of this fun? Of course, my background, I'm a nurse. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I do. And I love it in the fact that I know that everything we're doing is safe and to the nth degree of everything we need to do has been done the best we possibly can do. And I'm really, really excited and obviously passionate about it. We do have some barriers and plexiglass in place to protect some of our staff members in reception. If you do find yourself or the girls go down to reception areas, we do have some plexiglass available. They're flexible, they're movable, and we might, in areas where the girls need to interact in a different way, or the teachers find that they need the plexiglass to maximize their lessons or their interactive learning. I love the fact that our plexiglass are movable and flexible, and our girls aren't going to be stuck feeling like they're in a fishbowl. We've ordered and used our plexiglass and ordered that in a structure to complement the way our teachers teach. We never teach normally sitting in rows and rote learning and the teacher at the front of the class. So we've organized everything in our distancing in our classes, and even the ordering of our plexiglass in a way that's complementary to normally the way our teachers like to move around, all in maintaining the distancing that is the safest for our students. I've talked about a medical grade air purification system in the classrooms. I think that is state of the art, and our signage and marking. Rest assured that I am ahead of the curve with our public health protocols. I can't tell you enough that the legislation, we have a very, very active joint health and safety committee. We always have in the school. I'm also the risk management officer for the school. But the joint health and safety committee, we also have started a subcommittee. We have, and you will see on the website, 6 subcommittees as well, all working tirelessly through the summer to ensure a safe school reopening. And last but not least is, of course, continued to provide support for the social and emotional well-being for our whole community, our students, our staff, and our extended community and of our parents. We do normally provide a very extensive support for our students. We have a great guidance department with a student support service, a learning specialist, myself who does the social emotional support, and that will continue. Our staff are extensively trained in identifying students that could be potentially at risk or experiencing some difficulties, and there's a very clear referral process of how they can identify those students, and they get referred to myself and my colleagues and my team. And also a program will be in place, just a generic program, just to support students in these times of COVID, different stressors. Our homeroom teachers will be doing a program of stressors, time management, sleep habits, good nutrition, so that in general, we will help support our social emotional stressors and well-being for our students. But also know that myself, if you need extra social support for your daughter, emotional support for your daughter, I'm the go-to person, and I can help facilitate, whether it's for myself or triage that and get you connected into the community. Obviously, after 23 years, I'm well connected to the community, and I can definitely help facilitate that for you. So on that note, that's kind of a quick overview. If you would like to ever discuss the lovely 72-page document that was written, I can give you I don't want to date myself by saying Cole's Notes version, but I will just date it myself. And I can discuss anything you would like to know if you have any concerns at any time. And thanks very much. And I hope to be able to see you all very, very soon.
Francie, thank you. That was awesome.
Okay.
And thank you for all the work that you've done on behalf of our whole community for making sure that we are safe. It's definitely makes me as a parent feel better, as well as being the head of school, making sure we have such a safe environment. It's now my pleasure to introduce Megan Enticknap, who is the deputy head of the middle senior school. Megan's had various different roles in the school, as well as leaving and going to teach abroad. And I'm sure she'll explain that when I introduce her. But we were very excited when we found all of the requirements and rules that as a school we were able to open our senior school fully, to have the girls here for 5 days a week. We can do that because we're a small school, and Megan has the daunting challenge then of creating timetables and structures and systems and staffing and everything to make that work. And she has done such a wonderful job. So before I introduce her, I did want to publicly thank her for all of her work in making sure that next week, Wednesday, when we start, we're ready to go. So I'm going to hand over now to Megan, and thank you again, Francie.
Thank you so much, James. It's wonderful to be here. Good morning, everyone. As Mr. Whitehouse said, my name is Megan Enteknap, and I'm the Deputy Head of the Middle Senior School. I've been in this role going into my second year now. So as James mentioned, he had the role previously. So when he became head of school, I was thrilled to have the opportunity to move into this role. It has been challenging, as he mentioned. I wasn't sure that this was what I was signing up for, but it's definitely been a fantastic team to work with. And as James said, we're so thrilled that across the middle senior school, we're able to provide pretty much our full programming. I'm going to go into some details on that. As James mentioned, I have had kind of two iterations of my career at Elmwood. So I was here some years ago working in the junior school as the primary years program coordinator and also doing some teaching. And then my family and I moved overseas for about 5 years, and I was teaching in Hanoi, Vietnam at an international school in Hanoi, quite a large school, and I was the director of learning at that school. And then when we returned to Ottawa, I was lucky enough to find a spot back at Elmwood. So I'm now going into, James and I were I was trying to figure this out when we were chatting yesterday. I think I'm going now into my 7th year being back, maybe my 8th. And as James said, I've had a few different roles, but have been in the deputy head position now for going into my 2nd year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our school and in particular the programs that we have in the middle and senior school. I did just want to remind people that if you have questions, we are going to address questions at the end. So if you are able to put questions in the Q&A, that's great. Sometimes we've been finding people have had problems accessing the Q&A. So if you can't put them in the Q&A section, then please use the chat section. And we do have our moderator, Miss Irwin Jackson, who is going to be kind of using those questions to help guide the Q&A at the end of our session. So as I've mentioned, we do have very special curricular programs at the school, the International Baccalaureate. I found it funny that as I was driving in this morning, I don't know if any of you are listening to CBC, but schools that are dealing with the pandemic and also running the IB program are having a little bit of a struggle because the IB does not work very well with a semestered system. And so now that some schools are having to be really creative with switching up the way they're running programs, it is challenging for some of these schools that are running specialized programs. So again, we feel very lucky and also kind of honored to be able to continue to offer the full range of our programming. And so that includes our International Baccalaureate program. The International Baccalaureate is a program that the school has had for many years. In fact, we're one of the longest standing schools globally to have all 3 of the IB programs, the continuum of IB education. And sometimes parents worry then when they join the school and their daughter hasn't necessarily gone through all of the pieces of the IB, whether that's going to be an issue. And the lovely thing is that it's not. So, you know, whether your daughter's joining the school in grade 6 or grade 8 or grade 10, there's always an entry point for what it means to be an IB learner. And that's even true in grade 11 and 12 at our school. And I'll explain that briefly. So for your daughters, because we're talking about the middle and senior school students today, they will be part of the IB regardless of what grade they're in. So from grade 6 to 10, all of our students are part of the middle years program. And the middle years program really focuses on helping students identify their own passions for learning And they do this through a variety of ways. We use a lot of inquiry-based practices in the classroom. And we also have various opportunities for students to connect their learning across subjects. So rather than always seeing their learning as silos based on the different disciplines, we do a lot of work to connect the learning across the subject areas, which helps the students to see the relevance of their learning and to be able to apply it to the real world. So we use a lot of contextual opportunities where we bring in real world scenarios and situations and allow the girls to use those inquiry skills to solve problems and to build their ability to drive their own learning. After the middle years program in grade 10, when the students go into grade 11 and 12, they have the option to select how they're going to be involved with the diploma program. So that could mean that students choose to do an IB diploma, which then means they graduate from our school with both an Ontario secondary school diploma as well as the IB diploma. Or they can also choose to do IB courses, which means that they will have certificates of distinction in the subjects that they choose to pursue as an IB student. But as well, if students choose to stay with the Ontario ministry credits and graduate with the Ontario secondary school diploma, they're still considered an IB student, because really the vision and mission of the IB permeates our school. So thinking about concepts of international mindedness, what it means to be a global citizen, ensuring that we are educating for the whole child, the whole girl, the whole student. All of those tenets of the IB still permeate all the way through up until grade 12, regardless of what choices the students make when they're entering grade 11 and 12 in terms of IB. So the International Baccalaureate is definitely something that really distinguishes our school. And because of the training that our teachers do to become IB teachers, it really raises the level of academics in our school overall. So I'm going to move on to the next slide and talk a little bit about what that means in terms of student success. So we have a very personalized vision of student success at our school. Success can mean a number of things to different people. And I think Ms. Marchand alluded to this, Francie alluded to this earlier in the call, that we really take our cues from the girls and we talk to them from very early on about their goals and the things that they want to achieve, and making sure they have agency and a voice in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And so student success for us is not just about marks. It's not just about assessment. It's actually about who they are as a person and what they want to do with their goals and with their future. So we do a lot of one-on-one with the girls to help them determine what it is that they want to achieve and what success looks like for them. And that personalized pathway means that every student, as per our tagline, can reach their full potential. And that really is what we're aiming for when we talk about student success. And I'm going to talk a little bit as well about what that means in terms of, outside of academics, because we do have a broad co-curricular program and leadership program as well. So when we talk about student success, really that's a partnership between the student, the family, the teachers, and some of our other key people in the school. Our director of student success, who you may have already had a communication with on email, or if not, I'm sure you'll have an opportunity to interact with her, Miss Katie Fraser. She helps a lot with developing plans for girls in terms of addressing their particular goals, their interests, their learning needs, and she works very closely with all of the teachers and myself so that we ensure that all of the girls are on a path for success. And so I wanted to mention her because she is someone that I will make sure that you get to know and that the girls will also be interacting with. The homeroom teacher that your daughters will be paired with, so we will have homerooms by grade, which is a little bit different this year because of cohorting. So every student will be in a grade specific homeroom. In the senior school previously, we would group girls across grades, but now with cohorting, we were going to go back to a grade-based model, and there's definitely some benefits in that. And so the homeroom teacher will also be somebody really important for that line of communication between home, between student and kind of the teachers in the school, so that if you have questions or if you would like to touch base with someone, there's some key people. And so between me and Miss Fraser, Miss Marchand, who you've met, it would also be a first point of contact would be that homeroom teacher. So all of the girls will be finding out about their homeroom teacher and their timetables on the Monday before we come back to school on the orientation day on Tuesday, or for returning students, their first day may be Wednesday. Returning students do have the option to join us on the Tuesday if they wish, but everyone will find out their timetable and their homeroom teacher on Monday through an email. So I'm going to ask to move to the next slide. So I did mention that when we think about student success and we think about the development of our girls, we're talking not just about the classroom and the academics, but we're also talking about the holistic whole child. So part of that is our athletics and co-curricular program. Our director of co-curriculars is Miss Stephanie Hanratty, and she is also someone who will be important to communicate with when you're learning a little bit more about how we're going to run our co-curriculars this year. Our athletics, we have a middle school athletic director, Miss Erin Derbyshire, and a senior school athletic director, Mr. Ivan Sambles. Again, with COVID, there are lots of restrictions in terms of what we can do with our athletics programs. There obviously are not going to be the same kinds of competitions and regattas and tournaments and things like that because of restrictions around travel, restrictions around contacts and interacting. However, what I do want to let you know is that we are working really hard to figure out how we can provide some of the same programming and opportunities. And we're also keeping really at the forefront of when will we be allowed to do certain things. So the phase that we're in right now, the re-entry to school, there's going to be more limited opportunities. And then as we move through, and if things are going well, and as the phases move forward and in contact with Francie and with the health and safety, determining what are other things that we can add to the plate. We know that a lot of our girls love to be active and love to be on a team. And so we're really aware of the importance of these opportunities for their development. What we will be looking to do is to have co-curricular opportunities around the lunchtime, where we can have students interacting in grade cohorts outside, distanced, and still having some opportunity for being active and developing some of those skills related to athletics. So more on that will be coming as we get back to school in terms of helping the girls understand when they can get involved, how they can get involved, what are the things that we're able to run and not run. And so I did want to let you know that our athletics program is actually really robust, and one of the aspects that we are really proud of as a smaller school, that we have such a wide variety of teams. Of course, this year it is going to look different. If we can go to the next slide, please. So leadership and co-curriculars. One of the things that we are really known for as a school is how we build leadership in all of our students, and we give all of our students opportunities to develop leadership skills and take on leadership roles. We also have a co-curricular program which is dovetailed with that, because a lot of our girls will help support and lead co-curriculars with younger students. And so for this year, a lot of these opportunities are still going to be able to continue, and they will happen virtually in some cases when they can't be grade specific cohorts. So again, a lot of this information is shared in the first few weeks of school, and then throughout the school year, where girls will find out what are the opportunities for them to get involved. For example, we have 4 different houses in the school. So your daughters will each be joining one of our 4 houses. And these houses, you can kind of think Harry Potter-ish style. These 4 houses are really based on school spirit. and giving girls an opportunity to belong to one of the houses that is across our junior, middle, and senior school. So that's kind of the opportunity to extend their networks and relationships as well. We do have house events where we fundraise for the organizations that the houses support. So each house is aligned with a charity. So we're really building in that idea of service and empathy for others. And the co-curriculars also allow students to kind of explore passions and interests that don't necessarily connect to any of our academic subjects. And so the co-curriculars this year, as I said, we will be starting by running them virtually, except in some small cases where it might be a grade specific cohort. So more on these clubs, co-curriculars, and leadership opportunities will be coming out. One of the things that you will see straight away, because I know our prefects will be probably creating an awesome welcome back video. We have an incredible program in grade 12, which is our prefects, and these are 12 of our senior girls who take on leadership roles, key leadership roles in the school. And so we have, you know, some of them are heads of the houses. We have a student ambassador prefect. We have a head girl. We have a junior, middle, and senior prefect. So all of these grade 12 girls will definitely be reaching out. They're very creative, very passionate, and they are going to definitely let their leadership shine through a number of different ways this year. So if we can move on to the next slide. So just a few practical matters that I know this is probably where a lot of your questions lie in terms of how are things going to work? What do I need to, know? What are some of the key logistical details? So the first thing I want to say is that being new, there's a lot of information. I want you to know that for me, communication is key. And so if you have questions, if there are things that you are confused about, there was an email that came or something posted on Schoology, please message me through Schoology, email me at any time. I'm pretty good about getting back quickly with email, but if I don't get back quickly, just email me again. Don't feel badly about kind of pestering me to say, this was a really important question and I still haven't heard. Right now, so much communication is happening virtually that it is sometimes easy for something to slip through the cracks. I try not to let it happen, but please reach out, phone call, email, a message through the Schoology, which is our learning management system. And because I know that, it's hard to keep on top of all the new information. Our middle school girls are incredible. Our middle school runs from grade 6 to 8. So they're a fantastic bunch of girls that are so full of enthusiasm, love for learning. They want to get involved with everything. And so if your daughter is coming and joining our grade 6, 7, or 8, I'm so excited to meet her. And I know that it's going to be an incredible experience for her. The middle school girls do have a fairly set schedule, so there's not a lot of choices in their subjects, and they will be rotating through classes on a timetable. They'll have a certain number of teachers, not as many as the girls will have in senior school, because we do try to create little teams of teacher pods, but they will have exposure to different teachers. This year, the girls will be staying in their cohorts of 15, up to 15 students, and they will be largely staying with that group of girls throughout the day, and then having several different teachers deliver their core subjects. The middle school girls do have a chunk of time around the lunchtime that we call an enrichment time. And we have special programming at that time where the girls will be able to get outside, to do different activities, to kind of experience some things that are more of a co-curricular type nature. So we'll be using our lunchtime for doing a lot of those activities as well. The middle school girls and the senior school, yeah, we can move on. I was going to say both of the groups, we do wear a uniform, and I know that a lot of you have been coming in and picking up the uniform. So in terms of our school uniform, you can see the girls here are wearing their #1 uniform with the blazer. We are allowing girls this year to also wear their summer uniform throughout the year. We want to make sure that you as parents have as least stress as possible around knowing that the girls are coming home. If you're washing their clothes every night, we don't want there to be an issue in the morning where there's nothing to wear. So we are saying that the summer uniform can be worn all year. As well, if the girls have any physical activity or gym on that day, they can come to school in their gym uniform. Normally, they would have to change into their gym uniform. They wouldn't be able to wear it all day in a normal time. But because we are asking students to not be carting in a lot of things to school, and also because we're not using change rooms this year because of the cleaning protocols and the cohorting protocols. So if the girls are doing physical activity during the day, so for example, if they have a club or something at lunch where they're going to be going outside, or if they have a gym class, then they should come to school in their gym uniform. So that won't be on the first day. On Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, they should be in their normal school uniform. And then Wednesday, they could actually have PE. So once they get their timetable on Monday, then you could have a look and see. But basically between the gym uniform and the regular uniform across middle and senior school, that's what we are asking the girls to wear. And the homeroom teachers will explain that in more detail to them as well. So for our senior school, this is for our grade 9 to 12 is what we consider our senior school. And these girls are, again, just fantastic students. They are really passionate about kind of the school and the world around them. And they are also very, very heavily engaged and involved, not just in academics, but in school life and in the broader community. So these girls have more choice in their subjects. So as they move through the senior school, they do have more electives that they're choosing from. Our director of university counseling, Miss Dimple Patel, is one of the key people for these girls in terms of their academic choices and pathways. And so again, this is someone that we will be introducing you and the girls to, and will be a key contact for them when they're doing their course selections each year. The senior school girls do typically have a little bit more freedom in the school. But this year, again, because of measures of cohorting, some of that freedom is going to be a little bit curtailed. So they won't be able to sign in and out of school during the day, as we had procedures for that with our grades 11 and 12 in the past. So what we will be doing, though, is encouraging, as Ms. Marchand mentioned, for classes to get outside. So a teacher can go and use an outdoor learning space. A teacher could choose to go and take a group to the park or to take a walk around the neighborhood. So we're going to make sure that the girls still have those opportunities across middle and senior school for getting outside, getting fresh air, and kind of having some freedom outside of the classroom. Please note that a mailing went home that had a form that we consider it an opt-out form. So if you don't want your daughter to be able to go with a teacher off campus, for example, to one of the nearby parks or to go for a walk, then you do have to fill that form out. Because otherwise we're going to assume that you are fine with supervision, your daughter being off campus, nearby in the neighborhood with a teacher. We won't be going on extensive field trips this year, taking buses and things like that. But what we will be doing is really working to connect to community through other ways. So the teachers will be having guest speakers who join a class virtually. So you may get asked to participate in a class as a parent if you have a particular interest or skill or qualification that we want to leverage. So we will be looking for lots of opportunities, creative opportunities for connecting the girls to the community. So if we can go on to the next slide. So the bistro is an incredible part of Elmwood. This is our food plan. So there's been information sent home about this. This is just a sample of the menu from actually September. So this is an actual sample of the menu that our chef Candace has put out. The meal plan for this year, just again in terms of some of the health and safety protocols, you need to be on the full meal plan if you're going to join, but you can join month by month. And if the school were to go back to a full closure, that would only happen if we were required to do so by the ministry, then you would be refunded. So the bistro uses all organic, many kind of natural products. Chef Candace, if you have any questions, I can connect you with her. The food is fantastic. You know, sometimes when people come to visit Elmwood and we ask, like, how was your visit? The only thing they talk about is the food. And I'm like, what about the classes? What about the teachers? What about that? But it really is, you know, and again, because they're part of our school community, everyone who works in the kitchen, it's just a neat part of the school. It's very special. And so the girls will be eating in their homeroom hubs. And if they're part of the meal plan, then they will simply go down, collect their food. It will be spaced out by grades, and they'll bring it back to their homeroom hub, or when the weather's nice, they'll be eating outside. So I just wanted to let you know about that. And then the next slide. This is the arrival. So there will be designated entry doors, and I'm going to be emailing this to parents and girls as well. So you don't need to memorize this right now, but this is just in terms of the staggered entry. The way our drop-off works is that it's pretty staggered naturally anyway. So girls arriving, whether they're walking, whether they're taking a bus, whether they're being dropped off by a parent. So for the first week, we're saying the drop-off is between 8 to 8:20. And then beyond that, it will be 7:50 to 8:10. And if you can move to the next slide, this just shows where the girls will be entering. So the parking lot flow is shown by the red arrows, and all of the girls being dropped off by a car will get off at one spot. And then the main reception door, which is where you, if you've been visiting the school at all, would have been coming in, is where the grades 6, 7, 8, 9 will actually physically enter the school. And then anyone in grade 10, 11, 12 will walk down the side of the building and across the front, and then they will go in what we call the atrium door. And there will be staff members at both of those locations. So again, I will be sharing this with you in an email and with all the girls. So next slide. If a student signs out during the day, normally they can sign back in, but in these times, again, because of contact tracing and because of the risk of exposure, we are saying that if a student has to sign out during the day for some reason, they should not sign back in on that day. So when you're thinking about appointments and things like that, I know that has an impact, but it is something that we feel we need to start with. And that is the same for staff as well, actually. So if they're going to an appointment, they should not be returning back to school that day. If you do have to pick up your daughter, because unfortunately we can't have parents in the school, which is a really, you know, sad part for me, but I will be outside as will James, and I know Francie will be trying to say hello and kind of have that contact when you're doing drop off. But if you're picking up, you would have to call front reception, and we can make sure you have that number, and then your daughter will come out to you. We do have a staggered dismissal. So the next slide, please. So there's a slightly staggered dismissal because the girls are in various areas of the school. The dismissal might look like it's really compacted, and how is that going to happen? But they're going to be using their exit doors, and they're actually coming from quite different areas of the school. So the girls will be dismissed out to the parking lot, or if they are walking home or they're getting their own way home, then they will be dismissed to those areas. And then the final slide is the questions.
And Megan, I think you've done an amazing job because we literally have 2 questions.
Woohoo!
Maybe another one as well. So just a quick one about late sign-in and how that's handled.
Yeah, so that's fine. So what you'll see when your daughter gets her timetable, if she's in the senior school, so kind of grade 11 and 12, she may end up having even a spare first period. So there could be reasons for late sign-in for that, but it also could be that you're running late, there's bad traffic, It could be that you have a morning appointment. So students can sign in late. So what they would do is any student who's coming in late would need to use the main reception door, not the atrium door. And they would need to come in through the main reception door, and we have a receptionist there 24, well, I was going to say 24/7, but that's actually not true. That would be a real waste of resources. But during the school day, they can come and they will be buzzed in, and then they will sign in, and they will go straight to wherever their class is happening.
Great. And then kind of a broader question about the onboarding of new students and support that we will give to students who may be behind where they would normally have been if they're coming out of the public school system and with the school closure and the strike action last year.
Mm-hmm. So the great thing about our school is that our teachers work very collaboratively together, and we also are very nimble. So what will happen is when we begin, and it's going to be the same for the girls who were at Elmwood in the sense that, you know, some of the girls may have been really adept at the remote learning during the school closure, and some may have had a really hard time with it. So we're going to be looking to see with all of the students, where are they at? Are there certain areas where we might need to do a little bit of review before launching into new content for that grade level? And this is not just, you know, related to the pandemic. As I mentioned, the personalized education that we provide here, we will be looking constantly for the ability and the competency of the students. And if we feel that as a whole, we need to do some more review and revision of content, we will with the whole group. If it's more based on individual students, then we will work with them in a differentiated fashion to ensure that they're getting the learning and the support that they need. So if there was ever a need to communicate with you as a parent to say there might be a little bit of extra work to do, that would happen through either the homeroom teacher or through Ms. Fraser, Katie Fraser, our Director of Student Success.
That's great. And then one for Francie around the protocol that's in place should we have a case of COVID.
Since you muted me, I'll unmute. Yeah, great question. Absolutely, we have a protocol. So some of our behind the scenes protocol with respect to contact tracing, we have a COVID-19 workplace safety plan in place. We also have a pandemic plan. And just last night I shared our very comprehensive step-by-step plan with the leadership team. I'm not sure if they had a chance to review it, but just so that you do know. So if I have a positive case, whether it's staff or a particular student, one you may have obviously noticed, we have a junior school building and a senior school building. So very, very limited, if any, crossover between those two buildings. So that's a very good positive there. In our main building, for example, if it's a student positive, our public health department will deem the extent of the impact on our building, but the relevance and the speed that we can provide to them, the contact tracing information, will be very, very important. And they will just dictate again to us how widespread the impact and the amount of self-isolation that will need to happen. In our school, I know for Megan, she has been very respectful of when she said our girls are cohorted, they're limited to 15. We have very layering effect going on. So we have our 2 meters of distancing, we have our 15 students, we have our cohorting happening, we have our masks in place, we have our directional signage happening. So for example, in our grade 6 classroom, when they are in their bubble and they go and get their lunch and they go out to recess, they are limited in their area, in their bubble, in their contact. When their teachers come in, those teachers are also limited in the amount of interactions they have with other students. So our middle school teachers don't interact with our grade 10 students, for example. The bathrooms are also assigned to specific grades as well. So we minimize the cross-contamination happening in our various bathrooms as well. So that's happening. If there's special visitors, I mean, internal visitors. So Mr. Whitehouse came into the grade 6 classroom, that's been documented as well. So our health department will be able to see at a very quick glance who has had contact with that grade 6 classroom within the previous 48 hours of a positive case. And then our health department will tell us, okay, it's just a grade 6 cohort, they will have to go home for 14 days and so on. In the daytime, as child falls sick, both schools have an isolation room where I will deal with them. I have a full PPE kit. I will isolate the child. I will stay with that child until a parent can come, and so on. So definitely a sick child falling sick during the day, I have a whole other procedure there. If a teacher falls sick, we will know exactly who that teacher has come in contact. Every one of our teachers has a seating plan that is uploaded electronically so that we can also provide to the health department who that child was sitting beside in any given classroom on any given day as well. So it's very, and the health department has to have access to that 24/7. So that is a 24/7 one. So they will phone Mr. Whitehouse or one of our 2 deputies and say, we need that access. So at the end of each day as well, our teachers have to upload to a common Google Doc area any outside of their bubble contacts, even our non-teaching staff. So we have that system in place. So all those parameters, then they will get back to us, and then we will post, we have to post on our website that there's a positive case, obviously confidentiality with no name. So you will know, as transparent as we can be from the direction of Ottawa Public Health. That makes sense?
Great, thanks, Francie. And then Megan, one question or a couple questions around kind of the end of the day and the time between dismissal and when parents might be able to pick up.
Yeah, so this is, I know, something that's really important to parents, and we're really conscious of kind of the stresses on parents in terms of working around the timing of the school day. Normally, we would have a lot of programs going on after school, and we would also have an opportunity where students could be at school waiting to be picked up. Due to health and safety restrictions, as Ms. Marchand has just been talking about, in terms of cohorting, as well as in terms of strict details around attendance and who is where in the building for contact tracing, as well as the need for the cleaning protocols. So as soon as the girls leave for the day, our cleaning, we're having high touch cleaning happening throughout the day, but by the end of the day, it is going to be all systems go in terms of thoroughly cleaning every space in the building. And so this all creates difficulty in terms of the students being at school beyond the timing of the school day. So you can imagine, you know, the attendance, where are they, who are they with, who are they cohorting with? If they're in the building, they still have to have masks on, which is a very long day for masks. So these are all the things that we're kind of trying to look at. So if a student was not being picked up and a parent was running late, to start with, we have a tent that is outside where a student can wait. So it will be dry. It might be a bit cool, depending on the weather in September. But there will be, obviously, bottom line, we would never leave someone here that was waiting for a pickup that had not, I mean, health and safety and student well-being, #1 top priority. You can rest assured that they would be looked after. And so there would be a space outside where they could wait that would be covered. Once things get too cold for that, then we're going to have to get creative. But again, maybe things will have shifted by that time where we can be a little bit more flexible with how we're managing different groupings of girls beyond their grade cohorts, and as well as having a bit better sense about the spaces in the school and also the needs for cleaning and the needs for those strict attendance documents. So in terms of the pickup, then 100% we are asking parents to do their best to pick up at those times, the dismissal times. But if there is a problem, again, please communicate with me, and we will ensure that the girls are looked after. And I know everyone's got individual scenarios that they may want to discuss with me about any of those concerns. So I'm happy to have those conversations as well. But the girls will be looked after, and there will be a space where they can wait. And we will work with that as things develop.
Great, thank you. So we're coming to the end of our time. I'm sorry about the Q&A and the chat issue, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this chat. I'm going to go through and make sure that all of these questions are answered, and we're going to answer them on those campus reopening logistics pages that are on the website. So we'll put more information in there. I'm going to move to the next slide, which is just the remaining sessions that we have, the remaining information sessions. So on Friday, we have another webinar like this that's going to be for new families, but also returning families. So if you get to the end of the week and you still have some questions that haven't been answered, feel free to join that. That's going to be much more of a Q&A, and we may go over a couple of logistics things, but the majority of that session will be for a Q&A, and I'm going to get the Q&A thing fixed for that. On Friday, between 10 and 11, we have an at-home learning information session. So any families that have decided they'd like to start the year with at-home learning, that will be important for you to attend. There was a question in the chat about what happens if someone is sick and can they join at-home learning? Yes, they can, and they can go from at-home learning back to on-campus learning as well. We've asked for sort of a week's notice so the teacher can be prepared for that scenario. And then an additional session on Friday between 11:30 and 12:30, if your daughter is going into grade 6, whether she's been at Elmwood or not, there's a transition information session for parents and for students for that. On-campus orientation happens on Tuesday, September 8th. It looks a bit different than it has in previous years in that it's just an hour this year. For middle school, it's from 11 until 12, and for senior school, it's from 1:30 until 2. Students are asked to arrive in the half an hour before that session. So 10:30 to 11 for middle school, 1 to 1:30 for senior school. There'll be a tent just at the corner of the parking lot. That'll be very obvious, and your daughters will meet their teachers and other new students in their cohort on the field. We'll have signage that will direct them to that, and then they will go with their teacher and their students to the classroom through the route that they would normally enter the school, so they'll get familiar with that path, and they'll have a short orientation session, and then parents can pick their daughters back up in the parking lot. And that's it. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Yeah, thank you everybody. I do want to say a big thank you to our panelists who have provided a lot of information this morning, but really to you guys as well. As parents, it's going to be a different year for parents. There's a lot of responsibility on us as parents and making sure our daughters are ready for the school year. But I would say most importantly is making them feel comfortable with it. Good conversations at home. I talk daily with my kids about this, and I'm excited for them. And I talk in an excited way because attitudes and behaviors are very easily picked up by kids, and they will take on how we feel as adults. So as the teachers, I said to the teachers, we're going to have a fun year. We really are. We're going to have a great year. It's going to be exciting. And we need to show the girls that, because the last thing I want is for what is such an important part of their life to not be fun and to not be exciting, because it is a great experience. So all of us as a community have a responsibility to do that. So I thank you for that. I try, if you know me, to be outside every single day in the morning and after school. It come rain or shine or snow, I'm out there. So please don't feel you can't talk to me. Sometimes people just look and think, come over and have a chat. That's what I'm there for. I like to have conversations, and we love feedback at the school. So please do that. Thanks for coming this morning. And again, if you have any questions, please get in touch with relevant people. As Megan said, communication is absolutely crucial, particularly at this time. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a great day. Look forward to seeing you all soon.